I am now in my restoration palette. I finished the underpainting, I finished the auto painting, I applied all my strokes. And let's just move the palettes over to the side just to take a look at how beautiful this painting is coming out. Not that I'm bragging about myself, but look what the program allows you to do. It just never seems, I never tire from the inspiration. Let me just get in a little closer and take a look at all those beautiful, beautiful strokes that it applied. Now, of course, Monet was the godfather of all these little impressionistic dabs. And look at all that. Look at all that. That is just beautiful. Now, what we're missing here is focus. I want to be able to see the edge of the boat. I don't see the people's heads and faces, the windows, the archways, that beautiful. Just because I want to do impressionistic doesn't mean that I need to go away from the detail. And you know me, I like detail. So let me come in here now, and this is what I need to do. I need to go to my soft edge cloner. In restoration, I have two things. I have soft edge cloner brush and a hard edge. And let me show you what happens. I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to click on it in a large size to exaggerate so you see what it does. If I'm going to count my soft edge cloner, it is the soft cloner. And I'm going to do this. It looks like I'm erasing or undoing everything that I did until now. Basically what it's doing, it's using a clone brush, the soft cloner, bringing back information from my clone source. Now, I'm going to undo that, of course. If I take my hard edge, it has a hard edge. Basically what it does is it brings back the information, but not with a soft edge around it. So let's compromise. Number one, I want this soft edge cloner. I want the opacity not at 100%. I want it in the 50s. That's a good age. 54, between 50 and 55. And what I need is to bring back the edge details. So I'm going to move this palette down here. And what I need to do is, how do I know where my edges are? That's where my tracing paper comes in. So I just turned on my tracing paper, and I can't tell you how many times I heard from my students, my painting disappeared. I don't see all those beautiful brush strokes I just did. It didn't disappear. You have on your tracing paper, but you see too much of it. If I'm going to go all the way to 10%, I'm going to see the photograph. It's really, you're missing the painting. If I click on it, there's your painting. So what you want to do is you want to see your clone source, but you want to see it anywhere from 70 to 90%. So now I see it, but I want to be able to see my edges. Maybe 70% is not enough. So I'm going to come back into 60. I am at 60 now. Let's try one more. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go with my soft cloner, but not at 100% opacity and not very large. I just want to come in, for instance, and take away, I want the edges of the buildings. Okay, so that I can come in and know where it starts and where it ends, so I can bring in some more paint strokes. You know what? I'm going to work blindly. I'm actually going to come to 60%. So I see more, and right now I know I'm not looking at my paintbrush strokes, but I am sort of copying over. I know that this is going to bring me back information. I know this is the edge of the door, and I'm just going over it slowly like that. And if I close my tracing paper again, you see how it's starting to show me where the edges are. Very important, and I'm turning my tracing paper on again, is to see the edges of the boat. Let me come in with a smaller brush stroke, brush size, and I'm going to come in here so that I can see the edge of my boat. Look at that. Okay. And what I'm going to do is bring this painting a little bit more up to date again, a couple of steps more, and then I'll take it from there. what I'm doing now is I'm continuing with the restoration process. I have brought back with my soft edge cloner a little more of the edges, as you can see. But not only that, I've added a blank layer on top with pick up on the line color. And if I close the eye on the canvas, you see that I'm starting to add color and add detail as well. Now I'm going to do a little bit more. So I'm finished with the palettes right now. Let me go now and start adding more punch to this. Now, the first brush that I showed you over here was the Impressionist brush, and we used that as a ghost for cloning. And the second one was the Sargent. The third one is an Impressionist blender that's in the Impressionist brush category that I created, and we have in here many different Impressionist brushes that I want you to play around with. One of them is the Impressionist blender, and that is based on the zero resaturation. So on an empty layer, you can come in here and start to pull together the water. Now, the water is a reflection. It goes up and down just to show that the buildings are tall. I'm pulling it up and down a little bit. You see what I'm doing? Just like that. First I pull it up and down just to show the buildings, and then I'm going to pull it left and right. And now I'm going to go this way because water flows left and right. It just goes that way, just like that. And I'm getting mesmerized again, starting to enjoy this way too much for this to be considered a way of making money. No, seriously, this is just so much fun. And the photo painting palettes are an amazing way to start, to get a head start. And then I really suggest that you go in and bring in your own punches, your own brush strokes as well. Now I have a third brush. I call that one Monet Water because it's a little Impressionist brush that I created to add some detail in here. In here it's a little too solid. I want to bring some reflections from the door that's green. So I'm going to Option or Alt the color right there. Maybe even a little more brighter. And I'm going to bring it into the water. Just like that. Maybe a little brighter orange as well. And I'm going to bring it in. Now with the blender, I'm going to continue blending it. Don't be afraid to lay down those strokes. Monet had heavy strokes. Strong, large. Some were very big, some were very small. Now, I'm going to come in and add some more with the Monet water. I want to add a little bit of excitement in here. A little brighter. Let's bring in that black. Let me bring in that line of demarcation. Just put that down. Remember which way that building goes, the way it turns. It goes this way, that way, and then it turns again. So let's help out. We should feel that. Just like that. And then add a little this way so we can see where the water starts and where the buildings start. Okay, now I am picking up a little of the little brown in there and just give a little of that as well. Add a little of the white just to feel the way the brick is turning. Just gonna add in there also. Look at that. Is that delicious? Just little dabs here and there, and it really starts to pick up, the painting starts to build up dimension. Now we need a little brown in there in the roof. Just a little excitement over there. A little around the windows. It's missing some green. Forgive me for going so fast. DVD is limited with time because I could go on and make this a year-long tutorial. And I'm rambling on and on. I'm going to add some flowers also. Look at that. some bright colors to make it live. Look at that. Is that beautiful? Let's add a little bit over there. That I didn't like. That didn't make sense, so let me undo it. Thank goodness for that Command Z. And maybe a little bit darker. That makes more sense. Come in with black, a little bit smaller. And let me show that it's a little archway. Like that. That's it. Just bring in that roundness. That little arch. Like that. And let me bring in some flowers. What Italian beautiful little house doesn't have flowers on the porch? So let me just add in over here some flowers. And let's bring in some yellow as well. Just like that. And of course, the greenery right under it. The leaves for the flowers. Just like that. Let's make it a little larger. Bring in a little brighter red. Ah, that looks good. And let's have some flowers over here as well. And there's some hiding here also. And then let's do that greenery as well. Just like that. As you see, it's starting to come together. And of course, the more work that you put and the more time that you put into your painting, the more detail it's going to have. So it depends on the style and the look of what you are after. And I'm just going to add a little into the sky. Let's bring in, that's the wrong color. Let's bring in some white. Actually, I'm going to Option Alt click the area in here, and I'm going to bring in the highlights from the sky. And then I'm going to come in. I put in the color, then I come in and I blend it. Again, in the impressionistic strokes, because I am emulating Monet. And if Monet could see what digital painting can do today, I think he would get out of the grave and go for it. So, we're almost done. Okay, I think that I am finished with this image. Actually, I can go on. And one of the important things to know is to know when a painting is finished. So let me show you again the steps that we went through. I have over here, this is the finished painting. This is the image. We had the photograph and we brought this into the underpainting stage and we prepared all the color and then we cloned and we painted on a blank canvas with clone brushes, and then we used that as a source. So I happen to have the original before I cloned this. Basically, workflow is very important. Take your original image and always have a backup. Save that, and I'll show you. If I open up the other image, I have it here. This is the original, and I took that original and I made a copy of it, and that's the one that I changed and prepared as a clone source for this painting. So we went from, and let me just hit tab over here. We went from a photograph, and then we changed all the saturation, and we applied in the underpainting all kind of special effects to use as a clone source and create this painting. And then we came in with some details as well. So let me just put this aside, because in actuality, we went from this to this. And there you have it. That is photo painting. It's just unbelievable. Just go for it, try it, and use the recipe that I gave you. And I love to use the Impressionist on it. You can use other brushes as well. Go for it. I'd love to hear from you. And here we go. Happy painting.